Following World War II, the United States played a major role in shaping the future of the Japanese government in terms of distribution of power, military composition, and construction of laws in several ways. During the war, Japan's warfare tactics were considered to be barbaric and brutal by the United States and many other of the Allied countries. A few of these tactics include events such as the Nanking Massacre and the Bataan Death March. The Nanking Massacre occurred in Nanking, China, where Japanese soldiers killed hundreds of thousands of unarmed Chinese civilians and raped up to 80,000 women. The Bataan Death March took place in the Philippines, where Japanese soldiers forced 75,000 American and Filipino prisoners of war on a march 61 gruesome miles long. During the march, Japanese soldiers murdered and tortured the prisoners. As a result of these actions, the Allies developed mutual contempt towards Japan. This disdain, highlighted by the media, resulted in Americans' strong desire to completely obliterate the nation of Japan during World War II. Prior to World War II, Japan's government was modeled after a military dictatorship, with the emperor as an autocrat. Though the emperor was viewed as the sole leader within Japan, he did not rule like other military dictators such as Hitler. He often met with the council to make political decisions and took advice from several ministers. Japan did not want to be manipulated by Western powers, so it chose to develop a strong navy. With an impressive military force at his disposal, the Emperor of Japan decided to display their power by participating in conflict with Russia over control of Manchuria and Korea, and also in World War I. Though they had decided to become allies with Britain during World War I, they gained no respect from the West as a result of their efforts against the Germans, and the tension began to rise. In the 1921 Washington Naval Conference, Japan was a participant, but wasn't granted battleship and a carrier to tonnage that would be able to be on par with Britain and the United States. So this further convinced the Japanese that the United States had no respect for the Japanese. This led to an unquenchable thirst for power. Shortly after the conference, Japan once again began a conflict with Russia in order to regain power over Manchuria. Soon thereafter, Japan joined with Germany and Italy, and World War II began. America's derision of Japan resulted in several efforts to mold the seemingly barbaric Asian nation into one that would better serve the needs of the United States while improving their own government. The United States initially began this mission through the occupation of Japan by U.S. troops beginning August 28, 1945. Japan was allowed to maintain their original political structure throughout the occupation. However, the existing government was rendered useless due to the fact that they were forced to submit to the ultimate authority of the United States. The first post-war elections were held in 1946. Prior to the election, many new political parties were forming within Japan, including the Japanese Socialist Party, the Japanese Communist Party, the Liberal Party, and the Japanese Progressive Party. The 1946 election marked the first time in Japan's history that women were allowed to vote. This can be attributed to the American political influence through the example of women's suffrage movement within the United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Another major event that took place during the occupation was the revision of Japan's constitution. One of the new amendments to the constitution stated that the nation of Japan was not allowed to have a military. Instead, they were permitted to maintain a defense force, and absolutely could not attack a nation unless they were attacked first, or the people of Japan would have to answer to the United States in addition to whatever country they were fighting against. The United States also agreed to come to Japan's aid if they were ever attacked by another country. This bond remains intact today. The lack of military that Japan has essentially forced them to remain allies with the United States. Through this, American influence has been inflicted upon Japan. Japan is still very strong allies with America and will remain that way for the foreseeable future.